Did you know that your very existence today was made possible by the single most catastrophic day in Earth's history? An asteroid the size of a mountain, an explosion more powerful than billions of atomic bombs, and the extinction of 75% of all life. Witness the day the Earth turned into hell, and discover why it was the best thing that ever happened to us. The air hangs thick and heavy, like a warm, wet blanket woven from the scent of damp earth and giant flowering magnolias. You feel the heat of the late morning sun on your skin as it filters through a canopy of ferns the size of trees. In the distance, a sound cuts through the chorus of unfamiliar insects, a deep, horn-like call that belongs to a creature of impossible scale. A family of Triceratops horridus emerges into a clearing, their immense, three-horned faces framed by bony frills, painted in patterns we can only guess at. They move with the unhurried grace of living mountains. Ever wonder what it truly felt like to be a part of this world? To witness the last golden age of the dinosaurs firsthand? Let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and which of these magnificent creatures you'd most want to see. Now let's journey back in time and uncover the story of a lost world. It is approximately 66 million years ago, and you are standing on the edge of a vast, shallow sea. The water is a brilliant turquoise, and just beneath the surface, life thrives in a riot of forms. Coiled ammonites pulse through the water, pursued by mosasaurs, the great marine lizards that make even a great white shark seem tame. This planet is a paradise of giants. On the lush coastal plains of North America, a herd of Edmontosaurus browses peacefully, their young calling to one another in a complex language of honks and bellows. In the undergrowth, small, furry mammals, our own distant ancestors, navigate a world that does not belong to them, their lives dictated by the thunderous footsteps of the titans who rule. The world is stable, the climate is warm, the ecosystems are mature, and evolution has produced some of the most spectacular creatures ever to walk the earth. In the forests of Asia, feathered tyrannosaurs stalk their prey, while in the southern hemisphere, colossal, long-necked sauropods strip leaves from the tallest trees. Life is an intricate, balanced dance that has been unfolding for over 150 million years. There is no sign, no warning, no omen in the sky to suggest that this particular day is any different from the 10,000 that came before it. The sun is climbing towards its zenith, the air is full of life, and the planet is utterly unaware that it has less than an hour of normalcy left. The age of dinosaurs is about to end in a flash of light. From your vantage point, the sky remains a vast, peaceful blue. But then, you see it. It is not a bird, nor a pterosaur. It is a new star, born in the middle of the day, a pinprick of impossible white light that shines with more intensity than the sun itself. Below, the dinosaurs continue their timeless routines, oblivious. A Tyrannosaurus rex on a hunt pauses, perhaps tilting its massive head, but it has no frame of reference for this celestial anomaly. For a few precious minutes, that is all it is. A silent, growing jewel in the sky. But it is not silent, and it is not distant. It is a mountain, 10 kilometers wide, bearing down on your world at over 70,000 kilometers per hour. A speed so immense that it could cross the Atlantic Ocean in less than 5 minutes. The star begins to swell. It is no longer a point of light, but a rapidly expanding ball of incandescent plasma. As this cosmic messenger strikes the upper atmosphere, the air itself is torn apart. The sonic boom isn't a single clap of thunder. It is a continuous, world-shattering roar that begins to ripple across the globe. a sound so profound it would rupture the lungs of any creature that heard it. But sound is too slow. Light and heat are the first true messengers. The object is now a column of pure energy, a second sun descending from the heavens. For hundreds of kilometers around the impending ground zero in the shallow sea of the Yucatan Peninsula, the light becomes utterly blinding. In the final second before impact, the thermal flash arrives. A wave of heat, many times hotter than the sun's surface, vaporizes the shallow ocean before the asteroid even makes contact. Any creature in the direct line of sight is incinerated instantly. The very air is set on fire. Then, contact. It is not an explosion as we understand it. It is an event of geological creation and uncreation. The kinetic energy of the impact is staggering, equivalent to more than 100 trillion tons of TNT, or billions of the most powerful nuclear weapons ever built, all detonating at the exact same spot at the exact same time. The asteroid and the Earth's crust, for a fraction of a second, cease to be solid. They splash like liquids, releasing a flash of light visible from other planets. The world you were just observing has been fundamentally broken. The energy from the impact does not simply vanish. It pours directly into the planet's crust. You feel it not as a tremor, but as a violent, liquid-like convulsion of the very ground beneath you. A seismic shock wave, a literal ripple in the solid rock, expands from ground zero at thousands of kilometers per hour. This is an earthquake of magnitude 11, 1,000 times stronger than any quake modern humans have ever recorded. It is powerful enough to be felt on the other side of the planet. Mountains sway like reeds in the wind, and the ground itself splits open into vast chasms. Dinosaurs lose their footing, thrown into the air as the world beneath them ceases to be solid. The shock wave travels through the Earth's mantle, its core, and out the other side, causing volcanoes and earthquakes on a global scale. The planet rings like a bell that has been struck by a cosmic hammer. Back at the impact site, a hole nearly 180 kilometers across and 30 kilometers deep has been excavated in less than a minute. The rock at the center, subjected to unimaginable pressure, rebounds upwards into a transient peak taller than Mount Everest, before collapsing outwards to form the peak ring of the crater we can still detect today. Simultaneously, a plume of superheated rock, steam, and vaporized asteroid, trillions of tons of material, is blasted upwards. It punches clean through the atmosphere, carrying the story of this catastrophe into the cold vacuum of space. Some of this debris is thrown with such violence that it escapes Earth's gravity entirely, destined to drift through the solar system for eternity, some even landing on the Moon and Mars. But the most immediate consequence for the surrounding region is the water. The impact in the shallow sea has created a mega tsunami of biblical proportions. A wall of water, initially perhaps over a kilometer high, rushes outwards from the collapsing crater. It's not just water, it's a churning slurry of mud, rock, and incinerated life. As it slams into the coastlines of what is now Mexico and the southern United States, it scours the landscape clean for hundreds of kilometers inland, stripping away forests, soil, and every living thing. This wave will not stop. It will cross the Atlantic, diminishing in size but still hundreds of meters high, eventually reaching every coastline on Earth, a global scar from a single, devastating wound. The Earth has been shattered, but the sky holds the next wave of destruction. High above the atmosphere, the trillions of tons of pulverized rock and asteroid fragments that you saw blasted into space have reached the apex of their trajectory. Now, gravity takes hold. This material doesn't just fall. It rains down across the entire planet, from the poles to the equator. For the creatures on the ground, the ordeal is just beginning. The sky, darkened by the initial dust cloud, begins to glow a menacing, hellish red. It is the glow of countless billions of sand-sized particles of rock and glass, called spherules, re-entering the atmosphere at high speed and heating up to incandescence through friction. This isn't a meteor shower, it's a celestial bombardment. The cumulative effect of this fiery rain is catastrophic. It turns the entire upper atmosphere into a gigantic radiant heat source, like the broiler element in an oven. A wave of intense infrared radiation, invisible but deadly, begins to bake the surface of the planet. The air temperature at ground level skyrockets by hundreds of degrees in a matter of an hour or two. Any animal caught in the open is cooked alive. Forests, dried by the intense heat, reach their flashpoint and spontaneously erupt into flame. This isn't a fire that spreads. It is a fire that begins everywhere at once. A global firestorm engulfs the world's continents. There is almost nowhere to hide. Seeking refuge in a cave or burrow might offer temporary protection from the searing radiation, but the oxygen would soon be consumed by the inferno outside. Taking to the water is a death sentence, as lakes and shallow seas would quickly heat to scalding temperatures. The majestic dinosaurs that survived the initial blast and the planet-shattering earthquake now face an enemy they cannot fight or flee. The very air they breathe has become a furnace. As the great forests of the Cretaceous burn, they release unimaginable quantities of soot and ash, which rise to join the fine dust already choking the stratosphere. The fiery red sky slowly fades, not to blue, but to an absolute impenetrable black. The sun is gone. Day has become a night darker than any moonless midnight, a darkness that will last for years. The fires have burned themselves out, but the darkness remains. An impenetrable shroud of soot and fine dust now envelops the entire globe, blotting out the sun. This is the beginning of the impact winter. Without sunlight, photosynthesis ceases almost instantly. The planet's green engine shuts down. Plants wither and die on a global scale, from the mightiest conifers to the simplest phytoplankton in the oceans. With the base of the food chain gone, the world begins to starve. The great herbivorous dinosaurs, titans like Triceratops, and the duck-billed hadrosaurs are the first to perish. The colossal carnivores who hunted them, including the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex, soon follow. Their reign ending not with a roar, but with the quiet pangs of starvation in a cold, dark world. The cold is relentless. With the sun's warmth blocked, global temperatures plummet, plunging the once tropical planet into a deep freeze. For years, perhaps even decades, a bitter, unnatural winter holds the Earth in its grip. In the oceans, the death of the plankton triggers a catastrophic collapse that works its way up the food chain, wiping out the ammonites and the terrifying mosasaurs. Life is pushed to the absolute brink. Only the adaptable survive. Creatures that were small enough to need less food, those who could burrow underground to escape the worst of the cold, or those who could feed on the decaying remnants of the dead world, the detritus, are the ones who make it through. In the shadows of the dying world, our own shrew-like mammalian ancestors endure. When the dust finally settles and a pale, weakened sun returns to the sky, it shines down on an empty planet. 75% of all species are gone. The age of the dinosaurs is over. The silence is profound, but in this silence, there is opportunity. The ecological niches once occupied by giants are now vacant, waiting to be filled. From the burrows and the undergrowth, the mammalian survivors emerge into a world they can now inherit. The single worst day in the history of life was also the day that cleared the path for us. That devastating story, written in fire and rock, was a complete mystery for millions of years, until scientists discovered a thin, worldwide layer of clay in the geological record. A dark line in the strata rich with the rare element iridium, an element common in asteroids. This thin layer is the tombstone of the dinosaurs, the chemical fingerprint of their killer, and the clue that allowed us to piece together this minute-by-minute account of the day our modern world was born. It stands as a profound reminder that the history of life is a story of chance and catastrophe, where the end of one chapter, however violent, becomes the beginning of the next. The world we know, the lives we lead, and the very thoughts we think are all in some small way the legacy of the day the dinosaurs died.